Trump is obsessed with these files staying a secret, and we're going to do everything that we can to make sure they come out to the American public.
You know, some folks might say, why do we need more documents? And I will just note in the documents that were handed over to you all by the Epstein estate that House Oversight Committee released over the last couple of days, this is what we found. Epstein claiming in a 2018 text exchange with an unknown person that he could take down Trump. This is what it's written from an unknown sender. It will all blow over. They're really just trying to take down Trump and doing whatever they can to do that. Epstein, it's wild because I am the one able to take him down. Is there more to be learned?
I think there's a lot more to be learned. The reality is that every time we get a new batch of documents, there are a lot more questions. And in my opinion, signs point back to the White House. When you think about Epstein, his sex trafficking ring, Ghislaine Maxwell, all of this happened in New York. It happened in South Florida. It happened at Mar-a-Lago. They ran in the same circles. And so we know that the president has an enormous amount of information that he needs to share and that he needs to be honest with to the American public. We also know that the files themselves are enormous. And what we have just received a small batch from the estate, which is just one of the locations where the actual files are stored. What the DOJ has is enormous. And what the Epstein estate has pales, and there's pales in comparison. And so we need to get our hands on the files, the documents, the photos, the likely videos, and everything else that right now is in the possession of Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice.
And Congressman, what's your message to Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General? Because just today, he suggested that he didn't have the documents from the estate that the House Oversight Committee that you guys obtained before he sat down with Ghislaine Maxwell for that deposition. What's your message to him?
I mean, Todd Blanche still thinks he's Donald Trump's personal lawyer. You know, he has a commitment to the Constitution and to the Department of Justice, and he's still acting like his job is to represent Donald Trump. I mean, the fact that he is likely the person that has gotten Ghislaine Maxwell out of her secure prison and her location where she was at, there was no reason to move her to this other location, where she now has movement, access to other individuals. Apparently, she's having meetings with folks that are in secret that people don't know anything about. This is incredibly concerning. She is a monster who has done horrific things to children, girls, and women. And now she's getting this special treatment. I talk to survivors pretty regularly. In fact, I spoke with one just today, and all of them are horrified by what's happening right now with Ghislaine Maxwell. And Todd Blanche should be ashamed of himself. He's still continuing to represent the president and not the Department of Justice and the Constitution. And this is an enormous scandal, what's happening with Ghislaine Maxwell. And we've got to be loud and consistent and oppose the efforts of what's happening to try to essentially work with some type of pardon or commutation. We've got to oppose it.
Congressman, I want to connect two stories that we have been following today. There are, of course, the release of the Epstein emails, which we have been discussing. There's also new reporting that Bill Pulte is referring Eric Swalwell, your colleague, for a federal criminal probe over alleged mortgage fraud. We sort of have seen this pattern play out. Anyone who is critical of Trump, anyone who tries to check his power, this is starting to become a through line. Where's Representative Comer? Like, why is he not? Because he's not spending all his time on the Epstein files. So why is he not subpoenaing Pulte? Why is he not asking to talk to all of the IGs that have been fired from various agencies? Where is his appetite for, oversight?
I think it's pretty clear. I mean, Chairman Comer, he takes his direction directly from the White House and Donald Trump. And Mike Johnson does the same thing. The entire Republican conference, essentially, their job is to do whatever Donald Trump tells them to do and whatever he wants them to do, which is why this Epstein moment is significant, because his own base is beginning to turn on the president and those members of Congress that aren't focused on transparency. But Donald Trump is weaponizing government. And this is what's happening right now to Eric Swalwell, what's Adam Schiff. You think about what's happening to the Attorney General in New York and so many others. This is all about Donald Trump weaponizing our government to attack folks that he believes are his political enemies. And I don't think this is going to, by the way, end here. I expect him to continue to do this to whether it's Democratic elected officials, whether it's people or companies that he disagrees with, whether it's media organizations that he wants to sue. He wants to enrich himself. He wants to enrich his family. And he wants to attack his enemies. And we got to be very clear-eyed about what we have in front of us, and that the President of the United States is the most corrupt person to ever be in that office, and he will use everything he has and every tool and agency and agent and law enforcement official that's available to him and that will follow him to do his bidding.